My name is Yeong Kim, and I'm professor at UT Austin and also the principal investigator of Project Dual. And this month, for the month of October year 2025, our RA of the month is Katherine Zubiar, who is currently a research assistant on my research project Dual. So, Katherine, congratulations for being RA of the month for October 2025. I wanted to let you know meet with the transcription team leads every week, and I asked my team leads to nominate their best research assistants, and you were nominated by your supervisor, and your supervisor said the following. I nominated Catherine because she always brings a good attitude to our meetings and is excellent at communication. So,
Thank you so much.
so what do you think about what she said?
Really, I was so grateful when I found out because I thought I was constantly messaging her for her opinion for anything that I needed, and she was so kind to me, and I thought I was being a little too much. I was bothering her or something, but I told her that, and she ended up saying that she was actually grateful that I was communicating with her and putting my best into what I was doing. So I was so happy, so grateful.
Also, you were actually surprised that you asking constant questions, you thought she may have been annoyed, but you didn't realize that's what made her have such more positive views of you.
Right. I was so surprised. So I'm very, very happy. Thank you very much. And thank you for accepting me here.
Yeah, so one thing that students often do is they don't realize that asking questions is actually a good thing
Yes.
because it means that you're engaged with the work, you're thinking about it, and that you want to make sure you're doing it correctly and that you are invested in doing the work correctly the first time rather than turning in work that is of poorer quality and then
Mm.
us having to go back and fix it. So you being conscientious and letting your supervisor know that, oh, am I doing this correctly? And could you just make sure, like checking in? You may think, you're annoying your supervisor, but in fact, they're actually happy about it
Mhm.
because it means that we know that we'll get it right the first time rather than having to go back and fix things.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but I guess
Yeah.
you didn't realize that until you got the nomination for Aria of the Month for October.
Yes.
Okay. And what is your current major and graduation date?
Well, I'm currently a senior. This is my last year. I'll be graduating in May 2026 as a psychology major.
Okay, sounds good. So you only have one more semester to go.
Yes, ma'am. I know.
Wow, okay. So I'm just kind of curious about your journey to, getting to UT, you're welcome to talk about anything like your personal background. Just I'm curious to hear your story about how you got to UT and where you are now.
Yes, so I went to an early college high school, so I did dual credit. The program was specifically for that. And I ended up graduating high school with my associates, so I'm 2 years ahead in my degree. And I was doing research as to which schools, especially here in Texas, offered the best psychology programs, and I found UT. And then I think it was in the spring of my junior year, I took a tour of the school and I immediately fell in love. It was perfect for me. I loved absolutely everything about it, and it ended up being the only school that I applied to, and I got
Oh
in.
my God, your only school? You didn't even have a backup plan?
No, there was nothing else that interested me. This was it. So that
Okay.
might have been poor planning on my part, but I really, really believed in myself and I did my best work and I achieved it.
Well, so I know you graduated as salutatorian of your high school. So
Mhm.
I'm assuming that means you were already in the guaranteed admission pool, right?
Yes.
That's why you decided to only apply to one because you knew you were at least guaranteed admission, correct?
Well, yes, but also at the time that I decided, I I think I was still in the top percentage, but I wanted to get as high as possible. So I really pushed myself and I worked even harder just for my last year of high school just to like guarantee my spot.
I see. So, and I saw that you also got an Associate of Arts degree. And is that in addition to getting, is that part of your high school curriculum or is that like separate after high school?
That was the dual credit program. That was the degree that I earned.
Oh, okay, so as part of high school, you finished the 4 years, and as you finished that, you finished the art Associates of Arts degree at the same time.
Yes, ma'am.
So I was curious to, see if you could say a little bit more about like what made you decide to join my project Dual. Could you tell us a little bit about like what went into how to, to joining it?
So I initially found out through an email just from a psychology newsletter. And I was immediately intrigued by what the project was studying, how bilingualism impacts development and emotional intelligence, things like that. And I was drawn to the similarity that I saw between what the project was studying and how the things that I questioned about myself, because as a bilingual person, I often wondered, both as a bilingual person, but also as a psychology major, just how maybe does that have an effect on me as a person, the way I grew up, just things like that. So I was drawn to it through that lens. So I just took a leap of faith and I applied to join the lab and I got in and I'm very happy I'm here. I'm very fascinated with the research you're doing.
Okay. So just could you tell us a bit more about what you do as a research assistant on Project Dual? Of course, you were nominated through your supervisor in the transcription team, but you do another role where we're constantly exchanging messages for 2 hours. So tell us more about both
Yes.
roles.
Yes. So well, first of all, through the one where we're constantly communicating, that one is the presentation reminder role. So I essentially am the person who is reminding the presenters for the week who are sharing the message of Project Dual and trying to recruit more people. I basically remind them of their presentations, and I'm also helping send messages to fill the slots that we need for the next week.
So I'm so curious, like, what's your impression after having done that role? Like, has your perspective on people changed after doing that role?
On people, I would say um, I've found who is reliable and who is a quick communicator. And other people, it's so hard to connect with them because we end up having to send multiple messages and sometimes they don't respond or they just don't read them. So there's some disconnect somewhere. So you can really see who is like passionate and always contributing and so I've learned kind of as an outsider the personalities of some people. That
Oh,
was
how
interesting to me.
interesting. Because you
Hmm.
told me you were interested in studying personality psychology.
Yes. Yes. I can see all of it.
Yeah, I see that. So tell me more about the role that you got the nomination for from your supervisor.
Yes, so in addition to that other role, I am on the transcription team. So as I'm not actually doing the transcribing because the data's already been collected, so I am just helping clean up the data for the analyzing phase. And basically, we just take the IDs and I help code them in Tabby. And that's what I'm constantly asking questions about, trying to make sure that I did the code right. And if I get an error, I need to know what it means. I need to know how to fix it. So, yes, that's the one where I think I have the most fun in that role.
Oh, really? So tell me what aspect of it makes it fun.
Really, well, first of all, the flexibility is great. I can work on them on my own time at my own pace. But also just having participating in research in this way is really fulfilling and it's just fun in that regard and just going through all the steps, kind of having my own little checklist. I really like being organized, so I enjoy the entire process.
Sounds great. So what do you like the most about being in Project Dual?
Well, as I said before, the flexibility is great. Just as a college student, you have your own schedule that may not fit into everything you need. So the flexibility is amazing with being an RA for this project, but also just the contribution to the research and the community that you have here. All the RAs are all so kind. I've never had a bad experience here. It's so lovely. And that's also what I love about being on the transcription team. They're so helpful, so communicative, and it's a wonderful place to be.
Sounds great. So tell me about what new skills have you developed while being in Project Dual?
Well, there's kind of two aspects to this. So on like a personal level, I've definitely developed those communication skills. Now I'm not afraid to ask more questions. I'm a little more confident in myself.
Remember, we
So
welcome it now.
yes, we do. Please ask questions. Yes, definitely. I've learned how to communicate with other people and network and things like that. And then on a research level, this was kind of an introduction to, for me, confronting like real data and taking part in that coding and analyzing process. So I've definitely refined those skills a little bit more.
Yeah, so you're also working in another research lab in the psychology department, right?
Yes.
So,
Mhm.
and you started that a little bit earlier than my project. So, what is it like being a research assistant on two different projects? Is it overwhelming? Is it manageable? You think it actually broadened your horizons? Tell us more about, how it operates to try to get, because in order to get into, very competitive PhD programs in psychology, just one research experience may not be sufficient. People often recommend up to three research experiences.
Yes.
Yeah. And just could you tell us more about how you juggle doing two different research labs and how different each one is and what you gain out of each?
Mhm. Oh, yes, definitely. So, as you mentioned, I did start the second one, or my first one technically, a little bit earlier. Um, so when I entered this one, I still had a very limited interaction with research and the specific data. So in the other lab, I am also interacting with data, but it's more of the collection and the coding in that regard. Whereas in this project, we're more in the analyzing stage of it.
Oh,
So
I see.
I,
So you get to see
yes.
both sides of, wow. So that's so great that it complements both, so you can see both different sides of the research process.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how has this experience changed or not changed your view of research?
Yes, that's really what has. This was like one of my favorite questions because that's the biggest thing that I've gotten from both these labs is that it has influenced my decision to for graduate school. I initially came in with a very narrow-minded view about pursuing a PhD. Now I will be pursuing, or I plan to pursue, a master's in industrial organizational psych.
Oh, so tell me
Yes.
more about that. Because when I first met you, you told me you wanted to do PhD in
Yes.
personality psych.
Mhm.
And now you're saying you're switching. So how did you come to that conclusion? Like, what was your journey to get to your current decision?
Yes. So like everyone thinks the only route in psychology is through a PhD when really there's so many more. And so interacting with research in through this lab and my other lab, I've found that I like to participate more simply as a participant and like do my little part in that way. But when I see, for example, you run this amazingly large, grand project, and the other grad student that I work with also runs a very big project, I just couldn't see myself in their shoes running everything and doing everything myself. But I do love helping in the way that I'm doing now. So I decided to pursue an industrial organizational master's so I could continue to do that and even add in my little personality interests to help people more like in the workplace.
Oh, I see. Wow. It feels like I dissuaded you from doing the PhD. I'm so sad.
It's not that. It was really great because, I realized that it's not for me, just personally, but it is still interesting to me, but I realized that it's not the focus that I wanted to take.
Oh,
So,
I so
but
you're
it's
saying, yeah, you're saying being in the project helped you see what you did and didn't like to do.
mhm. But I
And
still
so you,
love what I do, and I love contributing to research in this way. So
mhm.
it's definitely still so fun, so amazing to be a part of it. So it's nothing bad towards PhDs at all.
Okay, sounds good. So how has your experience at UT changed as a result of being part of Project Dual?
Well, as I mentioned before, this project has helped me become more confident in my communication and talking to other people because I'm just a big introvert at heart. It was really difficult.
I would have never guessed that. Oh my goodness. Okay, okay.
Well, yeah, look, I'm getting better. But
I'm
yes,
so shocked. Okay.
yes, so it's definitely helped me open up more. And as a result of that, I've been able to effectively communicate myself more in professional contexts and like at career fairs or networking events, I've been able to kind of open myself up to opportunities and take advantage of the skills that I've learned. So
Mhm.
I've met so many great people. I've experienced so many great things all because of these skills that I learned here.
Yeah, because you know how after class you came up to me and introduced yourself to me in person?
Mhm.
So
Yes.
very few students, because there's many research assistants on the project. Very few students take that initiative to introduce themselves to
Oh,
me. So
really?
usually I always thought, oh, I guess it's the extroverted students who are in that camp of, and then so when you just said you were introverted, I was so shocked because my whole theory of who does that is now shattered because of your experience.
Yes, don't worry. It took me, I think it was our third meeting as a class. It
Yeah.
took me like 4 weeks to just build up the courage just to do it, and I finally did it. So
Oh,
you
I
may
see.
not
I
be too
see.
wrong on that.
Oh, I see. I see. Gotcha. So, what advice would you have for future research assistants? And I'm curious about this, especially with the other role you and I communicate about the most, the
Mm,
presentation reminder role. So, you've seen what it's like to do that role. So, I'm curious to see what advice you have for future research assistants.
yes. So, first of all, I think we've talked about it multiple times. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to just share your opinion, share your thoughts. It's definitely, like you said, it's what they like and what they appreciate. And I would also say, don't be afraid to talk to you, Dr. Kim, or the professor that you're working with, because you are just so kind and so helpful. And as you said, we communicate a lot on my other role. And at first, I was very nervous because I was like, oh, I'm talking to the professor. This is like just nerve wracking. So I would say just be yourself, be confident, and don't be afraid to express yourself.
Sounds good. So one thing I was going to say, Catherine, you know how you have these late night shifts, 7 to 9 p.m.?
Yes.
So a lot of times students will sign up for those kinds of shifts and like never show up for them.
Really?
I know. So I have never seen you like there was one time where you were 15 minutes late. But
Yes.
then you told me ahead of time, so I knew that I didn't have to like wait for you at 7. And you were
Hmm.
so kind in letting me know ahead of time so I can schedule my day around when you are going to be there. But every other time when you say you're going to be there from 7 to 9, you're there. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you
Oh,
for being
wow.
so punctual and being like my incredibly number one RA for being reliable. Like it
Oh
is
my
so
goodness.
amazing. It's just like this is the beauty of being a faculty member at UT Austin is to be the privilege of working with students like you. Like
Oh,
it is such a privilege. So
oh,
thank
thank you so much. You are so kind.
What are your plans after graduation?
I will be pursuing a master's in industrial organizational psychology. And that's another thing that I encourage RAs to do is do not, you can have an idea of what you want to do, but I wouldn't say to limit yourself just so you don't feel forced to take a specific path. I think you should definitely allow yourself to explore and find what you're passionate about. And for some people, that is a PhD. And that's what I've met so many RAs who have learned about themselves that they want to pursue a
Oh,
PhD through this
really?
program.
You mean by being an
And
RA on my
yes,
project, they're
ma'am.
now thinking of becoming a PhD themselves and becoming a doctor themselves? Oh, wow.
Yes. Or just like it's just very catalyzing their passion. Just like they came in with the idea of pursuing a PhD and it's just encouraging them to take it on. So definitely, yes.
So what's interesting is because I take students from not only psychology but
Hmm.
other majors too. I've written letters of recommendation for students to get PhD for like economics and PhD in political science and sometimes I Google my former students I wrote letters for to see if they are in the field, and many of them end up being in the field. It's so
Yes, it's truly
exciting.
amazing. It's a wonderful place, truly.
Okay, so did you have any questions that you wanted to ask me to conclude our interview?
Yes, ma'am. I do have one. So I wanted to ask you, how do you manage and personally feel about this project? Just because it is so grand, the data is so immense. I just wanted to get your thoughts as a scientist, as a researcher, but also just on a personal
Okay.
level.
So as you know, because I've talked about it in class so many times, I've been running this project for 10 plus years. And it's sometimes
Yes.
it's like so funny because the study participants now they're I think even now older than than the RAs on our project, because like now the average age of the participants is close to 23-ish. Yeah, I know,
Wow.
because we started with them when they were around age, 11 or 12 or something like that. Was no, 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 it was like 13 was when they were starting. So we've been following them for 10 years. And, when I started the project, it was just a dream, like, oh my God, it'd be great because I grew up as, a kid from immigrant families. I grew up in Southern California and my parents didn't speak English. So I had to be a language broker for them. And I was feeling like, oh my God, like my experiences are never represented in any research papers I ever read in graduate school. And so then it was just like a dream to be able to do a research project. And fortunately, at the time, National Science Foundation loved it and funded it. And then they funded it again. And then National Institutes of Health also ended up funding it and funded it like two or three times at this point. So I just got so lucky. And the families in our study are just incredible. They're so kind and so warm. They've been with our project forever. And when we go to their families' homes, we send them birthday cards. When they were filling out the survey with us, they told us their birthdays. So we have the mom's birthday, the dad's birthday, and the child's birthday. But then now they're young adults. So we've been sending them birthday cards for over 10 years. And so when we go to their homes
Wow.
to do the visits, they have all of our birthday cards that we've been sending them for over the years. Yeah.
Oh, that's so
Yeah, it's so great.
precious.
And the art research assistant who's in charge of doing the birthday cards, I tell them they are not allowed to do like a laser printer of their name. They have to hand write their name, like have their happy birthday or like that. And so because I don't
Yes.
want them to think that it was done by some machine. Like we want like that personal touch. And that
Yes,
birthday
ma'am.
card role is often kind of one of the most popular roles. Like RAs really want to do that. But what's interesting is that the RA who does the birthday card role, it's actually quite complex because you have to use a database and you have to run database queries to be able to generate the week's birthdays that you have to create the birthday cards for. So a lot of RAs who are really interested in like graphic design and sending pretty cards and things like that want to do that role, and they don't realize it has more to do with the actual databases and doing.
Yes.
It's so interesting because on the surface you may not realize it, but there's so much like data and like database management that goes behind the scenes of doing that. It's so interesting. And so,
Hmm.
like I said before, Catherine, it is such a pleasure to have you on the project and to meet talented research assistant like you. It just makes my day, and that's why it's so rewarding to do the research project because of the incredible students I get to meet. And honestly, to be completely honest, I'll be the first to admit my students are more talented than I am, and because I learn from them more than you guys learn from me. I mean, like the students, both the undergraduates and graduate students, are just so incredibly talented. At UT Austin, the talent at UT Austin at both the undergraduate and graduate level is just enormous, and I'm sure you can tell from the students you meet and the TAs you meet, and also the faculty are incredible too. They're doing just some of the best cutting edge research in the world. Our motto, what we do here changes the world. I really believe that because the work we do is just that outstanding. So as a researcher, it's just incredible to be able to literally fulfill my childhood dream of being able to study the population I want to study it the way I want to study it. And as a scientist, I get to publish the findings and inform the literature. And, when I was an undergraduate student in psychology, I was taking my developmental psychology class and I would be assigned these readings week after week after week. And I kept thinking, how come my experience growing up in an immigrant family is not in any of these chapters? Like not a single chapter or even a sentence. And then there was a professor who contacted me. He was writing a new book on child development, and he said he was adding my research into his textbook. And he asked me, do you want to review that chapter because it features your work? And I was just so, as you can probably tell how excited I was, that I get to finally have my experiences and students and children who represent my background, like their experience being represented in textbooks that they're assigned to read. That's all possible because students like you who make this job easier and rewarding, and it's just fun to be able to do the science that I want to do.
Oh, that is so lovely. I'm so happy to hear your passion and your dedication, and I'm so glad you got to fulfill your dream. It is truly remarkable.
Thank you so much. Was there anything else you wanted to add to our interview before we come to a conclusion?
I think that is all on my end. I just wanted to say one last thank you to both you and my supervisor for just allowing me to be here and for having so much faith in me. I really, really appreciate it, and I will continue to do my best for you. And I know this project will continue to grow and go far.
Thank you so much. So thank you, Katherine Zubiar, our October RA of the month for Project Dual. Thank you, everyone, for listening.